All right, get ready because we are going deep into client management today.
Sounds good.
If you're prepping for a client manager interview,
Yes.
you know we've got you covered.
Of course.
We found this Indeed.com article, and it is packed with interview questions and answers.
Nice.
It's like your secret weapon to not just ace that interview, but to really thrive in the role.
Indeed.com always has such practical advice.
It really does.
And what I like about this article is that it digs a little deeper.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just telling you what to say,
Right.
but it really helps you get into the mindset of a successful client manager.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
The article jumps right into this balance between technical skills and interpersonal savvy.
Uh-huh.
What's your take on that?
It's interesting.
Yeah,
A lot of people think that client management is all just smiles and handshakes.
I can see that.
You absolutely need the technical chops to back it up.
I feel like that's true for a lot of jobs that people think are just like personality based.
Absolutely.
But there's always some like hidden technical side.
Yeah, like you got to think about it.
Yeah.
You are the bridge between what the client needs and what your company can actually deliver.
It's true.
So yeah, mastering things like CRM software, digging into those client reports,
Yeah.
and really having that deep product knowledge.
Yes.
That's all mission critical.
You're speaking my language.
Am I?
We're talking about being organized, fluent in the data,
Yeah.
but also being able to translate all of that
Yes.
into something meaningful for the client.
Exactly. And you know what's really cool?
What?
Even if you're not aiming for a client-facing role,
Okay.
this stuff is pure gold.
Interesting.
Every job involves serving someone.
True.
It could be a customer,
Yep.
a colleague,
Mm-hmm.
even your boss.
Yeah.
So understanding what they need,
Yeah.
communicating clearly,
Mm-hmm.
that's your superpower no matter what.
It's like that underlying principle of being a problem solver,
Yes,
an advocate, someone who makes things happen.
precisely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to this gem that the article keeps highlighting,
Yeah.
the power of storytelling.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
They really hammer home this idea of using concrete examples in your interview answers.
Yes. It's not just about saying, I'm a great communicator. You have to prove it.
Right.
And I was really struck by how they weave this into the sample questions.
Uh-huh.
You remember that classic, describe a time you dealt with a challenging client?
Oh, that's a favorite.
It is.
And the sample answer that they give is brilliant.
Okay.
They talk about this client who's freaking out over a delayed delivery.
Yeah.
Now, it would have been so easy to just apologize.
Right. Just smooth it over.
Exactly. We'll do better next time.
Right.
But they go further than that.
No.
They acknowledge the issue, they take ownership,
Mm-hmm.
and then they lay out this plan to expedite things.
And that's what makes it so powerful.
Yes.
It's not just about smoothing things over.
Exactly.
It shows that you can think on your feet and take action.
Yeah.
Exactly. Put yourself in that interview.
Yeah.
The hiring manager is looking for someone who can handle the heat,
Mm.
someone who can turn a problem into an opportunity.
It's a good look.
And that answer just screams competence.
So for our listener,
Yes.
the takeaway here is to have those stories ready.
Yes.
Think back to situations where you've tackled tough client issues,
Mm-hmm.
where you've demonstrated those key management skills.
And they even give you a framework.
Oh, yeah.
The STAR method,
Right.
situation, task, action, result.
It's so helpful.
Structure your answer, hit those points.
Ooh.
You've got yourself a compelling story.
And that's where I think a lot of people trip up.
Yeah.
They have the experience,
Mm-hmm.
but they just fumble the delivery.
Absolutely.
So the STAR method's like your secret weapon to make sure your skills really shine through.
It is.
Okay, so we've nailed the interview prep,
Uh-huh.
but let's be real. This article's hinting at something deeper, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's about thriving in this role long after the interview is over. That's where we move from interview tactics to the core of what makes a client manager successful.
Okay.
And you start to see these little nuggets about proactive communication,
Yeah.
managing expectations,
Mm.
finding solutions that work for both the client and the company.
It's that high wire act.
It is.
Keeping the client happy,
Yeah,
but staying true to your company's goals.
absolutely.
What I thought was interesting is in the more client manager interview questions section,
Uh-huh.
they really give us a peek behind the curtain.
They do.
They talk about things like negotiating with clients, escalating issues, handling pressure.
Yeah.
It's like a glimpse into the daily grind of a client manager.
And what's so fascinating is
Yeah.
they're not saying you need to have all the answers right now.
Right.
Client management is constantly evolving.
It's true.
You're always learning.
It's about being adaptable,
Yes.
constantly curious,
Mhm.
someone who sees a challenge and thinks, game on.
Exactly.
But where do you even begin with all that?
Well, the article subtly highlights this idea of continuous learning.
Okay.
It mentions staying up to date on industry trends, finding mentors, and reflecting on both your wins and your losses.
Ooh, here's where we get into the nitty-gritty.
Here we go.
Tell me more.
All right, so think about it this way.
Okay.
The best client managers are like sponges.
Sponges.
They are constantly absorbing new information,
Okay.
connecting with other professionals,
Yeah.
and dissecting their own experiences to see what worked
Mm-hmm.
and what could be improved.
So I'm seeing a bigger picture here.
Yeah.
It's not just about checking boxes on a resume.
Yeah.
It's about cultivating this mindset of continuous growth.
Absolutely.
But what does that actually look like in practice?
Yeah, good question.
Are there any specific resources or strategies you'd recommend?
Absolutely. One thing that really helped me early on
Okay.
was joining industry associations.
Okay.
They have conferences, webinars, networking events.
Makes sense.
It's a fantastic way to stay ahead of the curve
Mm-hmm.
and learn from people who are killing it in the client management game.
Okay, networking conferences.
Yes.
What about those quiet moments of reflection?
Yeah.
How do you turn those into learning opportunities?
Journaling has been a game changer for me.
Oh, interesting.
After a big win,
Yeah.
I take some time to break down what went right.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing after a setback.
Mm-hmm.
I analyze what I could have done differently.
Right.
And it helps me identify patterns and refine my approach over time.
That's such a simple
It is.
yet powerful strategy.
Yeah.
It's like you're turning your experiences into data points.
Exactly.
Like you can learn from.
And don't underestimate the power of mentorship.
Oh, of course.
Finding someone who's been there, done that,
Yeah.
can provide invaluable guidance and support.
Speaking of challenges,
Okay.
one thing that really jumped out at me in the more client manager interview questions section was the question about a client moving to a competitor.
Ooh, yeah.
That's got to be a tough pill to swallow.
It is. And it's something every client manager needs to be prepared for.
Yeah, for sure.
But what's interesting here
What?
is that even in that scenario, there's a valuable lesson to be learned.
So you're saying even losing a client can be a growth opportunity?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
It forces you to take a step back and analyze what went wrong. Did you miss any red flags?
Mm-hmm.
Were there any communication breakdowns?
Yeah,
Could you have provided more value?
I see.
It's a chance to really dissect your performance
Okay.
and identify areas for improvement.
It's like turning that disappointment into fuel for future success.
It is.
But let's be honest, client management isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
It's not.
There are going to be times when you have to make tough calls,
For sure.
especially when it comes to balancing client needs with company needs.
You hit the nail on the head.
Did I?
That's the tightrope walk every client manager faces.
Yeah.
And it's a theme that pops up again and again in those interview questions, whether you're negotiating a contract,
Yeah.
managing expectations, or even escalating an issue.
Right.
You're constantly trying to find that sweet spot where everyone wins.
So how do you actually strike that balance?
That is the question.
Were there any tips from the article that really resonated with you?
You know, transparency is key.
Okay.
Being upfront with the client about limitations,
Yeah.
offering alternative solutions, and always framing things in a way that highlights the shared benefits
Right.
for both parties.
So it's about finding that common ground.
It is.
That win-win solution that keeps the relationship moving forward.
Exactly.
And it seems like that's a recurring theme in successful client management.
Yeah.
Communication, empathy, and that genuine desire to build lasting, mutually beneficial relationships.
Absolutely. And those qualities are also reflected in the article's emphasis on leadership and teamwork.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
Even though you're working directly with clients,
Yeah.
you're also part of a larger team within your company.
That's true.
You need to be able to collaborate effectively with your colleagues, advocate for your clients internally,
Yeah.
and ensure that everyone is working towards the same goals.
So it's not a solo mission.
It's not.
It's a team effort.
And that's why those questions about leadership experience and team collaboration are so crucial.
I see.
Hiring managers want to see that you can not only manage clients, but also lead and inspire those around you.
It all comes back to those soft skills we talked about earlier.
Yes.
Communication, empathy, problem solving. Those are the foundations of effective client management,
Absolutely.
no matter what industry you're in.
And this article does a fantastic job of highlighting those core principles,
Yeah.
both through the specific questions and answers
Right.
and through the broader themes that emerge.
It really does.
It's like a roadmap for anyone looking to excel in a client-facing role.
I love how they weave in those subtle reminders about continuous learning and growth. It's not just about landing the job. It's about building a fulfilling career in this field.
Absolutely.
But there's one question that's been rattling around in my brain since we started this deep dive.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
Well, the article mentions the importance of understanding your company's products or services,
Right.
which makes sense.
Yeah.
But with technology evolving so rapidly, how can you possibly stay on top of everything?
That's a fantastic question.
Is it?
And it speaks to this fundamental shift we're seeing in client management.
Okay.
It's no longer enough to simply memorize product specs.
Right.
You need to become a student of your industry.
So it's more about understanding the bigger picture,
Yes.
the trends and forces shaping the market.
Precisely, for example,
Right.
let's say you're working for a software company.
Okay.
Instead of just focusing on the features of your current product,
Right.
you need to be aware of emerging technologies
Yeah.
like AI and machine learning and how they might impact your clients' needs in the future.
So it's about being proactive,
Yes.
anticipating those needs before they even arise.
And that's what separates the good client managers
Okay.
from the truly exceptional ones.
Oh.
They're not just reacting to problems.
Uh-huh.
They're thinking ahead, anticipating challenges,
All right.
and proactively offering solutions that keep their clients ahead of the curve.
Okay, now I'm really starting to see the depth of this role.
Yes.
It's not just about keeping clients happy.
Right.
It's about being a strategic partner, helping them navigate this ever-changing landscape.
Exactly. And that's what makes client management so exciting.
It does.
It's a constantly evolving field that demands both intellectual curiosity and a genuine passion for helping others succeed.
So we've talked about technical skills, soft skills,
Yes.
continuous learning,
Uh-huh.
and now this strategic thinking element.
Right.
It's clear that client management is a multifaceted role.
It is.
But what about the data side of things? The article mentions using KPIs to measure and present client success.
Yes.
Can you unpack that a bit?
Absolutely. Data is king in today's business world,
I hear that a lot.
and client management is no exception.
Makes sense.
Using KPIs to track progress, identify areas for improvement,
Uh-huh.
and demonstrate the value you're providing
Yeah.
is essential for building trust and showcasing your impact.
So it's not just about saying, hey, we're doing a great job. It's about backing it up with concrete evidence.
Exactly. For
Right.
example, let's say you're working with a client to increase their website traffic.
Okay.
You wouldn't just tell them, hey, we're getting more visitors to your site.
Right.
You would show them the numbers,
Yeah.
the increase in unique visitors, the bounce rate,
Okay.
the conversion rate.
Right.
That's what makes your claims credible
It does.
and builds confidence in your ability to deliver results.
Data-driven decision making.
Yes.
I love it.
It takes the guesswork out of the equation
Right.
and allows you to really focus on what's working
Yeah.
and what needs to be adjusted.
And that's what makes client management so rewarding.
It is.
You're constantly analyzing,
Mhm.
learning,
Uh-huh.
and adapting to ensure your clients are achieving their goals.
It's a challenging
Yeah.
but incredibly fulfilling journey.
Speaking of journeys, this Indeed article has taken us on quite a ride.
has.
We've covered so much ground from
Yeah.
interview prep to long-term success strategies.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like there's still so much more to explore.
Oh, absolutely. We've just scratched the surface of what it takes to be a truly exceptional client manager.
It feels like it.
But that's the beauty of this field.
Okay.
There's always something new to learn, new challenges to overcome,
Right.
and new ways to grow.
And that's what keeps it exciting.
It does. It's like we've given our listener a toolkit, but it's up to them to go out and use it.
Right. And build something amazing.
Exactly.
But before we wrap up this deep dive into this Indeed article, let's try to distill some key takeaways.
Okay.
What are some of the golden nuggets that you think our listeners should really walk away with today?
You know, the biggest one for me is that client management isn't just about keeping clients happy. It's
Yeah.
about really getting to know their needs, advocating for them inside your company,
Yeah.
and coming up with solutions that work for everybody.
It's about being a strategic partner,
It is.
not just a taskmaster.
Right.
It's like we've been saying.
Yeah.
You got to be a strategic thinker, a problem solver, a communication ninja, and a lifelong learner.
All rolled into one.
No pressure, right?
Right. But even though this article from Indeed was really focused on interview questions,
Yeah.
these insights we've been talking about today, they really apply to anybody who works with clients,
True.
no matter what your official title is.
That's so true.
If you're building relationships, you're in the client management game.
These are really fundamental skills. for forging those strong, lasting connections.
Hmm.
And that's the backbone of any successful business.
Speaking of foundations, the article also made it a point to highlight how important it is
Oh, yeah.
to deeply understand your industry
Okay.
and what your company actually brings to the table.
Right.
That technical knowledge,
Yeah.
that's your credibility.
Yeah.
That's your trust builder with clients.
You're speaking their language,
You are.
getting their pain points,
Sounds-
and being able to offer them solutions
Mhm.
that are really tailor-made for them.
Exactly.
But we live in a data-driven world.
We do.
And the article made sure to really emphasize using those KPIs
Yes.
to measure and present client success.
It's so important.
What's your take on that?
Data is your secret weapon.
Oh,
Using KPIs to track your progress,
okay.
to find those areas where you can improve,
Mm-hmm.
and to really showcase the value that you're delivering to your client.
Yeah.
That's what builds confidence and trust.
It's not just about saying, hey, we're doing a great job.
No.
It's about actually proving it
Yes.
with those hard facts.
Data-driven decision-making. That's the name of the game.
I love that phrase.
It takes out the guesswork,
Yeah.
and it lets you really focus on what's moving the needle
Right.
and what needs to be adjusted.
We've covered so much in this deep dive,
We have.
but it feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
Absolutely. But that's the beauty of this field.
What is?
There's always something new to learn,
Yeah.
new challenges to overcome,
Mm-hmm.
and new ways to grow.
It keeps it fresh.
Oh, it does.
Okay, so we've given our listeners all these tools,
We have.
but it's up to them to go out there and use them to build something amazing.
Exactly.
But before we wrap up our deep dive into this Indeed article, any final key takeaways? What are some of those golden nuggets that you really think our listeners should walk away with?
You know, the one that keeps coming back to me is that client management isn't just about keeping clients happy. It's really about understanding what they need,
Mm-hmm.
advocating for them within your company,
Yes.
and finding solutions that work for everybody involved.
Being a strategic partner,
Absolutely.
not just a taskmaster. Like
Yeah.
we've been saying, you've got to be a strategic thinker,
Yeah.
a problem solver,
Mm-hmm.
a communication ninja,
Yes.
and a lifelong learner, all rolled into one.
All in one little package.
No pressure.
No pressure, but you know what?
Oh,
Even though this Indeed article was focused on interview questions,
right.
I think these insights apply to anyone who works with clients.
That's true.
It doesn't matter what your job title is.
Yeah, if you're building relationships,
If you are,
you're in the client management game.
you are.
These are really fundamental skills for building those strong, lasting connections.
Absolutely. And that's the foundation of any good business.
The article also mentioned the importance of understanding your industry and your company.
Yes, technical knowledge.
And that's where you get your credibility.
It's how you build trust.
You're speaking their language,
You're understanding their problems
and then you can offer them solutions.
that are perfect for them.
We also talked about data.
Data is so important.
Using those KPIs to measure success.
Yes. It's your secret weapon.
To prove you're doing a good job.
Exactly.
Not just saying it.
Data-driven decision-making.
That's the name of the game.
It is.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface with this deep dive.
I agree. There's always more to learn.
Before we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
I like it.
Remember how the article talked about balancing the needs of the client and the needs of the company?
Yes. That can be tricky.
Have you ever been in a situation where those two were at odds?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
How'd you handle it?
It's a tough one.
It is.
It really forces you to think on your feet,
Yeah.
have to communicate clearly,
Mm-hmm.
and stay focused on finding a solution that everyone can live with.
It's always a learning experience.
Always.
We'd love to hear from you.
We'll-
Share your stories with us.
Your wins, your challenges.
Your client management horror stories.
You can find us on social media.
Until next time.
Happy diving.